Hey everyone, Once Bitten here with a battle report. So I'm bringing out my new Beastman list. This is, I consider a somewhat 7th edition type list. A lot of mobility, a lot of smaller units, not a whole lot of heavy hitting units. Um, Going against Vampire Count's army, this is a player that I haven't played in a year, year and a half, so he's not been in a recent battle report. Um, So starting off with his units, at the bottom he's got a unit of skeletons, and he likes to make them survivable. So they have light armor, shield. Up from them is a unit of crypt ghouls, a corpse cart, terrorgeist behind it, fairly big unit of grave guard, some more skeletons with shields, and at the very top of the screen he has some zombies. He has 4 characters here at the bottom. He's got a level 2 vampire, he's got a necromancer behind the ghouls, and then he's really heavy in that Graveguard unit. First of all, the unit has the Banner of the Barrows. He has a really kitted out Vampire Lord as well as a White King BSB. So I'm looking I'm looking at his list here, and the Crypt Ghouls concern me a little bit just because I know, they have poison, 2 attacks each, toughness 4. I mean, it can be kind of tough to get through them, and I'm really, really worried about that Graveguard unit. The Banner of Barrows +1 to hit. He has a Vampire Lord with always strikes first, strength 7. So I think he will take down my Beast Lord without much effort. As a matter of fact, I think I'd be lucky to survive his attacks, knowing there's no way I would have of killing him, and then the second round of combat he would kill my Beast Lord. So I'm looking at that very quickly in the game of I'm not sure how I'm going to deal with the Graveguard unit, especially with his Lord in there. The only thing I've going for me is he would have 2 characters, and my Lord has the Sword of Anti-Heroes. So I'd have, 6 attacks, strength 7. Still wouldn't be enough. I did give one of my Harpy units Vanguard, so it's behind his lines. And otherwise, I've got a unit of Gore. I have extra hand weapons here. Razor Gore in front of him, Harpies behind him, Tuskgore Chariot, another unit of Gore. I've got my best Gore with a Standard of Discipline. My Beast Lord's in there. He's tricked out, as you can see. Sword of Anti-Heroes, Armor of Destiny, other Trickster's Shard. Brave Shaman behind, he's got Lore of Beasts. And I've got Weissen's Wild Form and the Savage Beast of Horos. So if I can get that Savage Beast off on my Beast Lord, then I might, if I can survive his Beast Lord's attacks, I might be able to win. That's going to be tough. Anyway, I've got my Gorgon. Then I have the only hard-hitting unit I have are 40 Gore, extra hand weapons, and they've got the BSB in there, and the banner that gives them +1 strength. So if I can keep the BSB alive, that unit should be pretty tough. I've got another Chariot, another Razor Gore, and then Senegors behind him. And Senegors have they automatic reroll on Primal Fury, but -1 movement. Every game they have a special roll. I guess they always show up drunk, and it influences their stats. So I get the roll off Beastman turn 1. I move up, as you can see. Really not a whole else to do. I have no shooting. I have no long-range magic. I bring my Harpies up because I'd really like to charge his Necromancer and get those easy points. I know that he has a Terrorgeist, and he could use the Terrorgeist to pick on this unit. And if he does, I think I'm okay with it. I'd rather him do that than fly up 20 inches and pick on my Gorgon. So one thought I had is I'd love to park behind this wall, and then if he charges me, he would be -1 to hit the first round. The only problem I have with that is I don't want to just sit there and allow my opponent his choice of when to charge and with whom to charge and stuff like that. But I was moving up aggressively, thinking about taking a position behind the wall. Vampire Count's turn 1. Yeah, he flies his Terrorgeist behind my Harpies. He's going to pick on them. But when he moves up, he's now outside of 12 inches from his general, so he can't fly 20 inches. And I kind of like that. Actually, I really like that. I've got a lot of really small units around the board, and that thing would just tear him up. And so at least, if nothing else, he's kind of, away from my big things for a while, and it's going to cost me a unit of Harpies. So overall, it looks like that. Yeah, they died. And we go to Beastman turn 2. So, yeah, what else can you do? I move up. Really, as you can see, I don't want to get so close that he can charge me at will. But there's some things I would like to do. I'd like to get my Harpies to be able to charge his Necromancer. I'd like to get my Chariot charging his Corpse Cart. I'd like to get this bottommost unit of gore and my Razor Gore into his rightmost unit of skeletons just so I can pick off that level 2 vampire. I decided to not hang out at the wall, just to move past it. And actually, this wall actually moved back a couple inches. It's really right in the middle of my unit. But I just really didn't feel it was worth, holding up, giving my opponent too many options. Now, I don't really know what to do with my Gorgon because I don't want him in combat with the Grave Guard unless I have a unit in there and his general's not touching my Gorgon. Because his Vampire Lord will just eat that thing up. If I can get another unit into his Grave Guard with the Gorgon on a corner, that would be absolutely wonderful. I also don't want the Gorgon in against the Crypt Ghouls because their poison will kill him very quickly. So if you see me dancing around with him, that's why. Vampire Count's turn 2. He's moving up. I mean, it's kind of crazy, this battle for the pass. Yeah, he's moving up as much as I think as much as he can without being, crazy about it. He is making it easy for me to get some charges, though. I mean, if you look at the distances there, I can pretty much pick and choose charges, at least with these my frontmost units. It's very tempting to get my my Beast Banner Gore Herd into the front of his Grave Guard. I think it'll be bloody. I think ultimately he would win that. But I could probably put enough of a hurting on him that I could mop him up later with another unit. The problem is he's far enough away. I'm not sure I can make the charge, and if I fail it, I think he can get a double charge on me, and I would probably prefer not to have that happen. So what I do instead is I take the unit, the Horde, and take him into his unit of skeletons. And I'm really nervous about it because if I don't pop that unit of skeletons, his general can come in there into my flank. Now the good news there is if he does go into my flank, there's a real good chance I'll be able to countercharge into his rear with my Bestigor unit. And that might actually be my best hope of taking on that Graveguard unit. So I decided to go ahead and chance it. It's a kind of a big unit of skeletons, so it doesn't seem likely I'll pop them. But I do have a lot of attacks, re-rolling to hit, strength 4. So I do get the charge I want down here at the bottom. I tried to charge the Chariot into the... No, I didn't. I lied. I didn't do that. I did take the Harpies into the Necromancer, so I'm thrilled with that. I'm happy with the combat at the bottom. Happy enough with my Horde with the BSB into his skeletons at the top. I think my Beast Lord and the Bestigor tried to charge his general's unit and failed. I really think that ultimately he would win that. But if I just thinking, I might be able to hold him up for a turn or two, and then my Horde would be able to come into the flank, and that would prevent him from going into the flank of the Gore. I was really disappointed in myself for not having a chaff unit available to park in front of the Graveguard. But just, that would have been a better use of my Harpies rather than putting them behind his lines, I think. Anyway, there's at the bottom. Harpies into his Necromancer. Horde into his Skeletons. Oh, yeah, and I took my Senegor into the face of his zombies at the very top of the board. Really, I don't expect to win that long term, but I'm still kind of playing with this list, and I want to see what some of these different units can do. I haven't used Senegors a whole lot. They have Primal Fury that 2 attacks each, Strength 4, base, Strength 5 in the charge. I think I'll win the first round of combat. I just want to see, how they can hold up. Yep, and that's what I fear, his general on my flank. So at the end of combat, here at the bottom, you see his Vampire level 2 is dead. And other than that, I didn't do as many wounds as I thought I would, but I'm okay with it. That was still kind of what I was hoping to do. I'd rather not see his Crypt Ghouls come into my side, but again, if he does, it'll cost me these 2 units probably, but I'll have another unit into the flank of his Crypt Ghouls. So that still could work out. Harpies killed the Necromancer, turned to face his flanks. I'm really looking to get a charge on that Corpse Cart. They'd have to get lucky to kill it, but you never know. Here at the top, I think I did, if memory serves, I did 15 hits, 12 wounds, and he saved 6 of them on a 6-up, 6-up. He had 6-up armor and a 6-up ward. And I thought he did well. At the top, yeah, I won it. He killed 1 Senegor. It's a push. I don't even know who won combat there. So Vampire Count's turn 3. I was really surprised. In my opinion, he made mistakes here, but He was telling me why he did what he did, and it kind of made sense. I mean, his Crypt Ghouls charged, let's see, I had a unit of gore and a chariot. He charged the chariot, I fled. He charged the gore, I stuck. And then he charged the Graveguard into the same unit of gore, and they only needed a 9 to make it. And I just really did not want to see that happen. He would have wasted that unit, turned, and he would have been in my flank. So I just fled with both those units. So the Crypt Ghouls automatically fail. I was really worried that the Graveguard would redirect into the flank of my BSB's unit, but he didn't. He went towards my general and failed the charge. So I was actually thrilled with how that turned out. Yeah, there's my 2 units fleeing. And you see my Gorgon over here. I do not know what to do with that thing. He raises more of these guys up, so these skeletons are gonna. I mean, I have a lot of hits, and it's nice they're all strength 4. But yeah, and what he's doing, he has a wraith in here. Ooh, yeah, there's a wraith in here that I forgot to point out. But anyway, he's issuing a challenge, and I'm just declining, and it sends my BSB to the back rank. So I still get the strength 4 benefit, and then after combat I move him back up to the front rank, and I put him where the wraith can't touch him. And then so when it comes to combat, he just issues a challenge to get my BSB to the back rank. And he does, it saves him a couple attacks for me, and it saves my BSB from getting hurt. So anyway, Terrorgeist takes care of my other unit of Harpies. And down here, it's kind of a grind. You see I did a fair number of wounds on him. He did not do many on me, and we keep on going. I switched table sides to take this picture. Really the same thing happened again. I did 12 wounds, and he saved 6 of them. So overall, I'm not going to complain too much. I think I'm going to win that, especially now that his general didn't come into my flank. I know I'm going to win that eventually. And over here, I was actually really impressed with the Centaurs, mainly because the zombies couldn't do any wounds to me. And, they did a few. They won combat. We're sticking around. I'm thinking, wow, we might actually just be able to, if I can just hold them up the whole game and eventually win it and save my points, I'd be very happy with that. So we go to Beastman turn 4. I decide not to charge with my general. He and the Gorgon. The Gorgon, I'm taking leadership tests every time, but he's leadership 10. So I'm really just hanging back with those 2 units. I park a Razor Gore. And my thinking is here, one, I don't think his general is going to be able to see my horde of gore by the end of this combat round. I'll lose a couple, and I'll reform, make sure he can't see him. I wanted to charge the Razor Gore, and I'm going to stick with him. And then when he wins combat, all he can do is maybe reform, and then I should get my Bestigore and my Gorgon into that fight. And I think between the 2 of them and a chariot coming from the top left, I might have a chance against that Graveguard unit. I mean, we'll have to see. Over here, the Gore rally, the chariot does not, and doesn't really matter. Here at the bottom, very, very happy. The Gore went to town on his skeletons. I just rolled insanely well, popped the skeletons, and so we all just reformed, looking at his flank, and I'm very happy with that. I'd really like to see those Crypt Ghouls charge something and get out of my way so I can charge the Corpse Cart with this thing. And look at the top. Centaurs took out the rest of the zombies. Just absolutely insane. Here the Bestigores, or the Gores, are chopping up the skeletons. So now I'm not really worried about that. I know I'm going to win it very soon. And this is, again, I'm thinking his general made a mistake not charging his general's unit into their flank. It's certainly what I was worried about. But again, what he was worried about was if something weird happened and I were to stick in combat, then I would come in with my Bestigore, my Gorgon into his rear and really tear him up. So, I mean, it's understandable. So on his turn, his Terrorgeist charges my unit of Gore. I fail my terror test, run off the board, and the Razor Gore fails its panic test and runs off the board. So, darn it. That kind of hurts my plans. I liked having that unit in his flank, and that's not going to work anymore. Otherwise, and then he decides not to charge my Razor Gore. I think he knew kind of what I was doing, so he hung back with him. This again, I walked to the other side of the table. This is my Gore horde, finished off of skeletons. I was thinking about reforming and going into, because this is his turn, right? Thinking about reforming so I could charge into the flank of his Graveguard unit. But the way I set it up, he backed up, and so now my Bestigore and my Gorgon are far enough away. I'm not confident they can get in there as well. So I thought it'd be safer just to reform him in a way that I have a relatively easy charge into his Terrorgeist. So we go to Beastman turn 5 back at the regular side of the table, and I did just that. I charged my Horde of Gore into the side of his Terrorgeist. And I really, one, I think I can easily win it, and two, if I don't, his Terrorgeist is going to be able to fly up and just kill my Gorgon anyway. So now at this point, I'm thinking I'm winning the game. The two units I'm worried about, which is the Graveguard, Mini Death Star, and the Ghouls, I don't need to kill them, and I don't see a reason to risk it. So I take my Razor Gore into his Corpse Cart, my Horde into his Terrorgeist, just get points where I can, and just let the team win. And I find it funny that I have this Gorgon and Bestigor Beast Lord never going to see combat, if I can help it. When all's said and done, I think I actually made a mistake here. What I did is I reformed the Gore so that I could threaten a rear charge into his general. And so now if his general charges forward and fails, he's really in trouble, and it's not a likely charge. And if he charges forward and fails, I'm probably going to be able to charge him from all sides next turn. The Razor Gore and the Corpse Cart have a push. Go to his turn, and he turns around and walks an inch away from my Gore unit. And now I realize, wow, if I flee, even if I back up on my turn and he charges on his turn and I flee, I'm off the board. And just gave him all those points. And my other units are too far away to countercharge, and so I realized it was kind of a mistake with my Gore unit. Down here, the Corpse Cart beats my Razor Gore. It doesn't catch me, so I don't think he even tried. Regardless, it doesn't catch me, so I'm going to get those points. Beastman turn 6. Basically, I take my BSB out of my Gore unit so he doesn't get those points. I reform the Gore and walk 5 inches away. Then I take my Senegore, and I realize when I do that he's still likely to get, if he charges the Horde of Gore, he's going to get all those points. So I take the Senegore and park them, redirect them with them. So I'm going to have to sacrifice the unit of Senegore, but it'll save my Gore Horde. My fear was if the Senegore, when they die in combat, that Gore Horde is going to have to take a panic test at an only leadership 7. Now they'll have a reroll, but it would still scare me because if they fail the panic, there's a chance of running off the board. But I still felt it was my best odds at this point. Took the Chariot into the flank of the Corpse Cart. There's a closer look. Here's, the Razor Gore rallied. So over here, he does a wound on me. Between combat and combat res, I do a wound on him, 2 wounds on him, and we push. And on his turn, he charged the Razor Gore. I just fled. There's no reason to stay. He would be easy points for him, and I wasn't worried about anybody here failing a panic test. Even if they did, who cares? I'd be on the board. So his Crypt Ghouls never saw combat. It's a push between the Chariot and the Corpse Cart. His Graveguard Graveguard Death Star goes into the Senegores. They're gonna just mop them up. And at the end of it, yeah, he kills them. He still has 2 heavy-duty characters and those 3 units on the board, but I really have most everything I started with still on the board as well. So we counted as a pretty major victory for the Beastmen, and I'll take the win. I'm not feeling a lot of confidence with this list. I feel like I don't have the power to deal with heavy units like this Graveguard. So I'll take the wins when I can get them. Hope you enjoyed it.